The emergency transmission cut through every active channel in the Sol system defense network like a scream in the dark. Admiral Bate Kowalski had been reviewing supply requisitions when her console lit up with priority alerts. She dropped the datapad and pulled up the signal. Static crackled, then a voice, broken, terrified, speaking in the melodic tones of Rithani Standard. "Please, anyone listening, this is Green Meadow Colony. They came without warning. The collective said we abandoned our claim. We never did. Now they are in our streets. They are killing us. The children, they are hiding in the schools, but the soldiers found them. Please, someone help us, please." The transmission ended with the sound of weapons fire and screaming. Bate sat frozen for 3 seconds. Then she called up the visual data embedded in the signal. Her screen filled with smoke and fire. Buildings burned. Bodies lay in the streets. Small bodies. Rithani were barely 4 feet tall, gentle herbivores who traded in textiles and poetry. They had been the first species to welcome humanity into the Galactic Trade Network 37 years ago. They taught human navigators how to read stellar drift patterns. They shared their art and music freely. Now they were being slaughtered. Bate forwarded the transmission to every member of the United Earth Assembly simultaneously. She did not wait for them to review it. She opened a direct channel to General Raymond Torres at Fleet Command on Mars. "Ray, tell me what ships we have ready to move." Torres appeared on her screen, his weathered face creasing with concern. "Bate, what happened?" "Just tell me." 73 vessels on active status. Another 140 in reserve that could be battle-ready in 48 hours. Why? "Get them all ready, every single one." She sent him the transmission. Torres watched in silence. When it ended, he looked older. "The collective did this." "Yes." "What did the Galactic Council say?" Bate pulled up another file. "This." It was a formal response from Council Leader Voriax. She read it aloud. "The collective's claim on Green Meadow follows established territorial acquisition protocols. The Council advises all member species to respect legal boundaries and avoid unnecessary conflict. Earth is reminded that military intervention without Council approval violates multiple treaties." Torres slammed his fist on his desk. "They are letting this happen. They are afraid of the collective. They have 600 systems under their control. We have 3. So we do nothing." Bate shook her head. "I am calling an emergency assembly session. But Ray, start getting those ships ready. I have a feeling we are going to need them." The United Earth Assembly met within 2 hours. Representatives from every nation, every colony, every station joined the virtual session. Bate transmitted the Rithani distress call without preamble. The chamber fell silent as they listened. When the visual data played, showing Rithani families cut down as they ran, several representatives looked away. Secretary General Amara Okonkwo spoke first. "The Council refuses to act." "They called it a legal matter," Bate said. "They said we should stay out of it. Those are children dying in those streets." "I know." Representative Liu Chen from the Luna Colony raised his hand. "What are our options?" Bate brought up a tactical display. "The collective has approximately 30 warships in the Green Meadow system. Intelligence suggests they are spread across the planet in 2 mining stations. We could assemble a fleet of 200 vessels. It would take every ship we have, including reserves." 200 against 30, someone said. "Those are good odds." "The collective has allies," Bate continued. "If we attack, we could be facing economic sanctions, trade embargoes, political isolation. The Council might even revoke our membership." The chamber erupted in argument. Some demanded action. Others counseled caution. They debated for 20 minutes until Representative Park from the Soul Arcology stood up. "I want to show you all something." He pulled up a video. It showed a Rithani elder named Windwhisper teaching a class of human children on Earth 7 years ago. The children sat in a circle while Windwhisper demonstrated traditional Rathani weaving techniques. They laughed as they tried to copy his quick, nimble movements. At the end, Windwhisper told them a story about kindness and friendship. "My daughter was in that class," Park said quietly. Windwhisper told her that humans and Rathani would be friends forever because we both understood that strength meant protecting those who could not protect themselves. She asked me last night if we were going to help them. I did not know what to tell her. The chamber went quiet. Secretary General Okonkwo called for a vote, all in favor of authorizing military action to defend the Rathani colony of Green Meadow. Every hand went up, not a single abstention. Bate returned to her command center and opened the channel to tours. "Ray, we are go. Mobilize everything." "Already started," Tours said with a grim smile. "Word got out. Volunteer crews are reporting for duty. We have more people than ships." "Good. How fast can we be ready?" 36 hours. "Make it 24. Bate pulled up the star charts showing the route to Green Meadow. It was a 2-week journey at maximum sustainable speed. 2 weeks while Rathani died. She sent a coded message to Captain Oliver Grant, commander of the destroyer Retribution. "Ollie, take your battle group and jump ahead. Fast insertion. Your job is to get survivors out and buy time until the main fleet arrives." Grant's response came back immediately, "On our way." Bate watched the tactical display as human ships began moving into formation across the Sol system. Mars shipyards lit up as reserve vessels powered online. The Europa station released its patrol fleet. Even the small garrison at Titan joined the assembly. This was it, humanity's first war since joining the galactic community. She opened a final transmission to the collective command ship at Green Meadow. It took 3 hours for the message to reach them, but she sent it anyway. "This is Admiral Bate Kowalski of the United Earth Defense Force. You have 24 hours to cease all hostile action against Rathani civilians and withdraw from Green Meadow. This is your only warning." She did not expect them to comply, neither did anyone else. 200 human warships began their burn toward Green Meadow. They were coming. Commander Threxus of the collective 3rd Expansion Fleet watched the burning Rathani settlement below with satisfaction. The operation had proceeded exactly as planned. When the collective wanted new territory, they simply engineered circumstances that made current occupants leave. A manufactured plague here, economic pressure there, sometimes just rumors of danger. Once a world was declared abandoned under galactic law, it became fair territory. The Rathani had been stubborn. They refused to leave Green Meadow despite the difficulties the collective had created. So Threxus received new orders: make them leave permanently. His second officer approached with a datapad. "Commander, we have cleared the northern settlements. Minimal resistance. The southern continent still has approximately 40,000 Rathani in hiding." "Find them," Threxus said. "The collective wants this world empty within 3 cycles." Some of the soldiers are questioning the necessity of total elimination. Could we not simply relocate them? Threxus turned cold eyes on his subordinate. "The collective has made its decision. These creatures had their chance to leave peacefully. They chose defiance. Now they face consequences. Do you question collective wisdom?" "No, Commander." "Then carry out your orders." The officer left. Threxus returned to watching the fires. The Rathani were a weak species, herbivores who wrote poetry and grew gardens. They had no military, no weapons, no capacity for violence. The galactic community would protest formally, then forget about it. They always did. The collective had absorbed 17 species this way in the past century. The pattern never changed. His communication officer interrupted his thoughts. "Commander, we have received a transmission from the Sol system." "The humans," Threxus laughed. "What do they want to file a complaint?" "They are demanding we cease operations and withdraw from Green Meadow within 24 hours. Threxus laughed harder. Humans, the newest species to join the Galactic Trade Network. Friendly merchants who sold primitive art and something called chocolate. They had a tiny military, barely enough to patrol their own 3 systems. They posed no threat to anyone. Send them a response. Tell them this is collective territory under legal claim. Tell them to go home and mind their own business. The message was sent. Threxus expected that to be the end of it. Humans were traders, not warriors. They would protest to the council, get ignored like everyone else, then return to selling their trinkets. 13 days later, his sensors officer reported unusual readings at the edge of the Green Meadow system. Multiple contacts emerging from faster-than-light travel. Signatures match human vessel designs. Threxus frowned. How many? Counting now, 17, 20, 35. The officer paused. Commander, they are still coming. 56, 71. How many ships do humans have? Intelligence estimates approximately 200 total across all their territories. The number on the screen kept climbing. 93, 112, 147. Commander, we're detecting 193 human vessels. They are in attack formation. Threxus felt his first twinge of doubt. This made no sense. You did not send your entire fleet over a species like the Rithani, not unless you were insane. He opened a channel to the nearest human ship. This is Commander Threxus of the Collective 3rd Expansion Fleet. You are violating collective territory. Withdraw immediately or face destruction. The response came from a human female, who identified herself as Admiral Bate Kowalski. Commander Threxus, you were given 24 hours to withdraw. That time has expired. Leave now or we will remove you. You are outnumbered, Threxus said, though he was no longer certain this was true. His 30 ships against nearly 200. The mathematics were unfavorable. The collective will not tolerate this aggression. You will face consequences. We are already facing consequences, the human said. Her voice was cold. We have to live with the fact that we are 13 days late, that Rithani died while we traveled here. We will face those consequences for the rest of our lives. Now you face yours. Leave or be removed. Threxus cut the transmission. He assessed his tactical situation. 30 collective warships against 193 human vessels. The collective ships were larger, more advanced. Human military technology was primitive by galactic standards, but the numbers were badly skewed. He could call for reinforcements, but the nearest collective fleet was 6 days away. He could retreat, but that would mean failure. The collective did not forgive failure. Or he could fight. His ships had better weapons, better shields. Humans had only been in space for a few generations. How good could their military actually be? All ships, he ordered. Defensive formation. Prepare for engagement. We will teach these upstarts the price of interfering in collective affairs. His fleet moved into position. Threxus felt his confidence returning. Yes, humans had numbers, but the collective had experience and superior technology. This would be over quickly. The human fleet began to advance. They spread out in a pattern Threxus did not recognize. Not the standard galactic battle formation, something else, something strange. They are dividing into smaller groups, his tactical officer reported. 5 ships per group. They are using maximum spacing. They are making themselves vulnerable, Threxus said. Concentrate fire on the nearest group. We will destroy them one at a time. The first collective volley launched. Energy beams that should have overwhelmed the human shields. But the human ships scattered like startled fish, moving in ways that seemed impossible. They were so small, so fast. The beams missed entirely. Then the humans fired back. Not energy weapons. Physical projectiles moving at incredible speed. Nuclear-tipped kinetic missiles. The collective shields were designed to disperse energy. They did nothing against solid mass traveling at a significant fraction of light speed. The first collective ship exploded. Threxus stared at his screens in disbelief. "Commander," his weapons officer said quietly, "I think we made a mistake." The human fleet came on like a swarm of angry insects, and Green Meadow's sky filled with fire. Lieutenant Amy Chen pushed through the smoke-filled corridor of the Rathani shelter complex, her squad right behind her. Explosions shook the building as collective forces bombarded the area. She could hear crying somewhere deeper in the structure. "Keep moving," she ordered. "Life signs are ahead." Her team had dropped planetside while the fleet engaged collective ships in orbit. Their mission was simple but dangerous. Get survivors out before the collective killed them all. Amy had volunteered immediately when she heard about the operation. She remembered meeting Rathani traders as a child, their kindness and gentle wisdom. They found the survivors huddled in a basement. 37 Rathani, mostly elderly and children. They looked up with terrified eyes as the humans entered in full combat gear. One elder stepped forward, trembling. His name was Greenleaf, according to Amy's translator. "Please, do not hurt the younglings. Take me if you must, but spare them." Amy removed her helmet so they could see her face. "We are not here to hurt you. We are here to get you out. Can you walk?" Greenleaf stared at her. "You are human." "Yes." "But why would you come? We are nothing. We have no weapons, no armies. We cannot repay you." Amy knelt down to his level. "You taught my mother how to navigate by the stars when she was a cargo pilot. You did not ask for payment then. We do not ask for payment now. Friends help friends." Tears filled the old Rathani's eyes. "I did not think anyone would come. We came as fast as we could. Now let's get you somewhere safe." Her squad helped the Rathani to the surface where transport ships waited. Above them, the battle raged. Human ships darted through space like silver needles, harrying the larger collective vessels. Every few seconds, another explosion lit the sky. Amy watched a human destroyer called Retribution execute a maneuver that should have been impossible. It used the planet's gravity to slingshot around, building up speed, then slammed directly through a collective formation with all guns firing. Two collective ships broke apart from the assault. "They fight with such anger," Greenleaf said quietly beside her. "They fight for you," Amy corrected. On the transport, Amy helped settle the Rathani refugees into acceleration couches. A young Rathani child, barely bigger than a human toddler, tugged on her sleeve. "What is your name?" the child asked in halting standard. "Amy." "Amy, will the bad ships follow us?" She looked at the kid's wide, scared eyes. "No, the bad ships have other problems now." In orbit, Captain Oliver Grant watched his tactical display with satisfaction. The collective had expected a stand-up fight using conventional galactic warfare tactics. Energy beams at long range, shields absorbing damage, slow, methodical exchanges until one side retreated. Humans did not fight that way. His ships used every dirty trick Earth's navies had developed over centuries of warfare. They hid behind asteroids and moons, striking from unexpected angles. They used nuclear-tipped kinetic missiles that punched through energy shields like paper. They targeted engines and weapons systems instead of trying to destroy ships outright. Most importantly, they fought angry. Every human in the fleet had seen the recordings of Rathani families being murdered. They had watched children run from soldiers and die in the streets. Now they channeled that rage into precise, devastating violence. "Sir, the collective flagship is trying to retreat," his tactical officer reported. "Pursuit course," Oliver ordered. "Do not let them leave this system." 3 destroyers broke formation and chased the wounded flagship. It was larger than all 3 combined, but its engines were damaged and its shields failing. The human ships circled it like sharks, firing continuously. Commander Threxus broadcast a surrender offer. Oliver forwarded it to Admiral Kowalski. "Your call, Admiral." Bates' face appeared on screen. Behind her, Oliver could see the command center of her flagship. Officers worked frantically at their stations. Did they offer mercy to the Rithani? "No, ma'am." "Then they get what they gave. Disable that ship. I want Threxus alive to stand trial, but his ship does not leave this system intact." Oliver relayed the order. His ships targeted the flagship's remaining engines with surgical precision. The massive vessel went dark, drifting in space, powerless. Across the system, collective ships either surrendered or were destroyed. Within 6 hours of entering the Green Meadow system, human forces had complete tactical control. Amy watched from the ground as the last collective ship surrendered. Around her, Rithani survivors emerged from hiding. Some wept. Others simply stood in shock, unable to believe they had survived. Greenleaf approached her again. "How many humans died to save us?" Amy checked her casualty reports. 47 ships damaged, 12 destroyed, estimated 800 crew killed or missing. 800, the old Rithani's voice broke. 800 humans died for us. They died defending friends. That is what we do. The galaxy will condemn you for this. The collective has allies. The council will punish Earth. Amy looked up at the sky where human ships now orbited protectively. Let them try. She meant it. Every human in the fleet meant it. The galaxy could protest all it wanted. Humanity had made its choice. The Rithani were their friends, and humans did not abandon friends just because it was difficult or dangerous or politically inconvenient. Medical ships began landing to treat Rithani wounded. Engineers started damage assessment on destroyed settlements. Admiral Kowalski broadcast a system-wide message in both Standard and Rithani. "This is Admiral Bate Kowalski of the United Earth Defense Force. Green Meadow is now under human protection. Any attempt to harm Rithani civilians will be met with immediate military response. This is not a temporary measure. This is permanent. We are here and we are staying." On the surface, Greenleaf pulled out a small device and began recording. His message would reach other Rithani colonies, other species who had suffered under collective aggression, other victims who thought no one would help them. "Humanity came," he said simply. "They came for us, they fought for us, they died for us. Remember this day. Remember that some species still believe in honor." Amy helped him to a transport. The war was not over. The collective would respond. The council would condemn them. There would be consequences. But the Rithani were safe. That was all that mattered. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from 400 species shouted at each other across the circular hall. At the center, Council leader Voriax struggled to maintain order. "Silence," his voice boomed through the speakers. "We will have order." The noise gradually subsided. Voriax turned his attention to the holographic image of Admiral Bate Kowalski, who stood calmly in the projection field despite hundreds of angry aliens glaring at her. "Admiral Kowalski," Voriax began, his voice dripping with disapproval. "Earth has committed 17 violations of Council law. You launched an unauthorized military operation. You attacked a sovereign collective fleet. You occupied territory that was not yours. What do you have to say for yourself?" Bate did not flinch. "I have a question first, Council leader. How many of you watched the Rithani distress call?" Silence fell across the chamber. "I sent it to all of you. A transmission showing collective soldiers murdering unarmed civilians, families, children. I asked for council intervention. Do you remember your response?" She pulled up the official council statement and read it aloud. "Legal boundaries, unnecessary conflict, respect established protocols." She looked around the chamber. "You told us to let them die." "The collective's claim was legal under territorial acquisition law," Voriax said stiffly. "The Rithani never abandoned their world. The collective engineered a plague to make them appear abandoned. That is not legal acquisition. That is genocide with paperwork. Several smaller species representatives nodded. They knew. They had all known. But the collective was powerful and the council feared them. Earth had no authority to intervene, another representative argued. You violated sovereignty. Whose sovereignty? Bate asked. The collective's false claim, or the Rathani's actual ownership of a world they had lived on for 3,000 years. Ambassador Patrick Lee stepped forward to join Bates' hologram. He had been a prosecutor before joining Earth's diplomatic corps, and it showed in how he presented the case. Let me be clear about what happened, Patrick said. The collective manufactured a plague. They released it on Green Meadow. When Rathani started dying and fleeing, the collective filed paperwork claiming the world was abandoned. Then they moved in and killed the ones who stayed. This council's response was to call it legal. We are not here to debate collective methods, Voryak said uncomfortably. No, Bate agreed. We are here because we did something about it, and you are angry because we made you look like cowards. The chamber exploded again. Representatives shouted accusations. Earth was called reckless, violent, dangerous. Bate stood through it all unmoved. When the noise died down, a representative from the Marathi Confederation spoke up. They were a small species, traders like the Rathani, who had lost 2 colonies to collective expansion in the past decade. I have a question for the council, the Marathi said quietly. If the collective decides my homeworld is abandoned tomorrow and moves in to kill my family, will the council help us? Voryak shifted uncomfortably. That is a hypothetical situation. It is not hypothetical. It is exactly what happened to the Rathani. Will the council protect us or not? No answer came. The silence was damning. The Marathi representative turned to Bate. Earth is offering protection agreements to smaller species. My government would like to discuss terms. So would mine, another voice called. The Balani, then the Korthari, then 6 more species, all small, all vulnerable to collective aggression. Voryak slammed his gavel. This council has not authorized Earth to form separate defense pacts. This council has not authorized much that actually matters, Patrick said. But we are doing it anyway. Any species that wants Earth's protection has it. No payments required. No strings attached, just friendship. And what does Earth want in return? Voryak asked suspiciously. Nothing, Bates said. Just that you stand with us when we stand with you. The collective representative finally spoke up. He was a tall, thin being named Zoltaris, and his voice shook with rage. This is unacceptable. The collective demands reparations for destroyed ships and killed crew. We demand Earth withdraw from Green Meadow. We demand your admiral stand trial for war crimes. No, Bates said simply. No. No, you attacked unarmed civilians. You murdered children. You committed genocide. And now you want to pretend you are the victim. She leaned forward. The collective can demand whatever it wants. We are not leaving Green Meadow. We are not abandoning the Rathani, and I am not apologizing for stopping a massacre. Zoltaris turned to the council. If Earth is not punished, the collective will take action. We have allies. We have resources. We will assemble a fleet that makes their little intervention look insignificant. We will crush Earth's military and make an example of them. Then come, Bates said coldly. Bring your fleet, bring your allies, we will be waiting. The chamber fell silent at her tone. There was no bravado in her voice, no bluster, just cold certainty. You cannot fight the collective, Voryak said. They have 600 systems. They had 600 systems, Patrick corrected. We have liberated 4 of them in the past week. Worlds the collective took through the same methods they used on Green Meadow. The populations welcomed us as liberators. This was news to the council. Shocked murmurs spread through the chamber. You invaded collective territory, Voryak demanded. We freed enslaved populations, Bates said, and we will keep doing it until the collective learns that genocide has consequences. Zoltaris pointed a shaking appendage at her. You have started a war you cannot win. Maybe, Bate agreed, but you have started a war you cannot escape. Every species you have oppressed is watching this. They know now that someone will fight for them. They know the collective can be beaten. How long before your own conquered worlds rise up? She was right, and everyone in the chamber knew it. The collective's power rested on fear and the council's unwillingness to challenge them. Now both were shattered. Earth had changed the galaxy in 2 weeks, not through diplomacy or trade, through the simple act of defending the defenseless. And the galaxy would never be the same. The collective armada assembled at the edge of neutral space was the largest military force gathered in 3 centuries. 847 warships from the collective and their 6 allied species. Enough firepower to level entire worlds. Admiral Zhen commanded from the super dreadnought Eternal Dominion, a ship so large it had its own internal gravity generators. He reviewed the tactical data with satisfaction. Intelligence indicated Earth could field perhaps 250 ships maximum, and many of those were damaged from their previous engagements. The mathematics were simple. The collective would overwhelm them with numbers and superior technology. This would be over in days, perhaps hours. Then the collective would occupy Earth itself and make an example that would discourage rebellion for generations. All ships report ready, his second officer announced. Begin the advance, Zhen ordered. We will show these primates the cost of defying the collective. The armada moved toward human-controlled space. Their target was Green Meadow, still under human protection. Once they retook it and destroyed the human fleet defending it, nothing would stop them from pushing all the way to Earth. But when they entered the Green Meadow system, they found something unexpected. Admiral sensors are detecting extensive fortifications, orbital defense platforms, mine fields, and the human fleet is larger than projected. Zhen frowned. How many ships? 312, plus defense satellites and ground-based weapons. More than expected, but still manageable. The collective had nearly 3 times that number. Prepare to engage. Then his sensors officer made another report. Admiral, new contacts entering the system, multiple vectors. Zhen pulled up the tactical display. Ships were arriving from 6 different directions, not human designs. He recognized Marathi traders converted into makeshift warships, Balani patrol craft, Korthari defense ships, 7 species who had accepted Earth's protection offers. How many? Zhen demanded. 193 additional vessels. Still outnumbered, but the odds were narrowing. Zhen felt the first flicker of doubt. These other species should not be here. They were traders and miners, not warriors. What had Earth promised them to make them risk this? He opened a channel to the lead human ship. This is Admiral Zhen of the Collective Armada. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now and we will show mercy to civilian populations. Bate Kowalski's face appeared on his screen. She looked tired. Dark circles under her eyes suggested she had not slept well in weeks, but her voice was steady. Admiral Zhen, you had your chance for peace. You chose this. Whatever happens now is on you. We have 800 ships. You have barely 500, most of them inferior designs. This is your last chance. No, Bates said quietly. This is yours. Turn around and leave. We do not want to kill you, but we will if you make us. Zhen cut the transmission. Human arrogance was astounding. All ships attack formation. We will sweep them aside. The collective armada advanced in the traditional galactic battle formation. A wall of ships, shields overlapping, presenting maximum firepower forward. It was a formation that had conquered dozens of species. The human fleet did not meet them head-on. Instead, they scattered into smaller groups, using the orbital platforms and minefields to create a maze. The collective ships had to split up to navigate through it. That was when the slaughter began. Captain Oliver Grant led his squadron through an asteroid field with collective cruisers in pursuit. At his signal, the asteroids exploded. Not natural explosions. Humans had hollowed them out and filled them with explosives weeks ago, preparing for this exact scenario. Debris ripped through collective shields. 3 ships went dark. Elsewhere, Lieutenant Amy Chen commanded a defense platform that fired not energy weapons but solid tungsten rods accelerated to near-light speed. They were essentially giant bullets, and collective shields had no answer for them. The Marathi ships, small and fast, used guerrilla tactics. They would fire, retreat behind human defense lines, then emerge somewhere else. The collective tried to pursue them into what looked like empty space, only to find more mines or automated gun platforms. Admiral Zhen watched his perfect formation disintegrate into chaos. The humans were not fighting a pitched battle. They were fighting a guerrilla war in space, using every dirty trick and unconventional weapon they could think of. "They are not fighting with honor," his tactical officer complained. "They are fighting to win," Zhen corrected grimly. He was starting to understand what made humans dangerous. Every other species fought according to established galactic warfare doctrine. Humans fought like they were still in their home system during their ancient wars, before they knew there were rules. More collective ships fell. The human fleet worked in perfect coordination with their allies. The Balani would draw collective ships into a trap. The humans would spring it. The Korthari would finish off wounded vessels. After 6 hours of fighting, Zhen had lost 137 ships. The humans had lost 49, and most of those were from allied species, not Earth. He received an urgent transmission from his flagship's captain. "Admiral, the Eternal Dominion is taking heavy fire. Multiple hull breaches. We need to withdraw." "We cannot withdraw. The collective does not retreat." "Sir, we are losing. If we stay, they will destroy the entire armada." Zhen looked at his tactical display. His perfect 800-ship fleet was being torn apart by a force half its size. How was this possible? Then he understood. The humans were not just fighting for territory or resources. They were fighting for people they cared about. Every human in that fleet knew Rathani families personally. They had seen the footage of the massacre. They were not just following orders. They were avenging friends. That kind of motivation made them more dangerous than any weapon. "Signal retreat," Zhen said quietly. "Full withdrawal." His officers stared at him in shock. The collective had never retreated before. "Sir, the collective government will execute you for this failure." "Better executed than dead," Zhen said. "Order the retreat now." The collective armada turned and fled. Human ships pursued them to the edge of the system, then let them go. Bate watched them leave and felt no satisfaction. Too many humans had died. Too many allies lost. The victory was real, but the cost was heavy. Her communication officer interrupted her thoughts. "Admiral, we are receiving messages from 17 more species. They want protection agreements." Bate nodded slowly. Earth had just become the galaxy's defender, whether they wanted to be or not. 3 months after the Battle of Green Meadow, the collective sued for peace. Their government had collapsed after losing nearly half their military to human forces. Conquered worlds rose in rebellion. Their allies abandoned them. The empire that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries crumbled in weeks. Bate stood in a neutral space station, waiting for the collective delegation to arrive for treaty negotiations. Beside her, Ambassador Patrick Lee reviewed the terms one more time. "We are not demanding territory," he said. "We are not demanding money, just freedom for every species they enslaved and war crime trials for those who ordered massacres." "Think they will agree?" "They do not have a choice." The collective representatives arrived. They looked defeated, broken. Their leader, a bureaucrat named Solvix, could barely meet Bates' eyes. "We accept your terms," Solvix said quietly. "All occupied worlds will be granted independence. All military forces will be reduced to defensive levels only. Those responsible for civilian deaths will stand trial." "And Green Meadow?" Bate asked. "Recognized as sovereign Rithani territory under Earth protection. We will pay reparations to survivors." Patrick slid the treaty across the table. Solvix signed without reading it. The collective empire was finished. After the signing, Bate returned to Green Meadow. The planet was slowly rebuilding. Human engineers worked alongside Rithani to repair damaged structures. Medical teams treated the wounded. Families were being reunited. She found Greenleaf in one of the memorial gardens. The old Rithani was planting flowers where a school had once stood. 43 children had died there on the first day of the collective attack. "Admiral," he greeted her quietly. Bate knelt beside him and helped with the planting. They worked in silence for a while. "The war is over," she finally said. "I heard the collective surrendered." "Yes." "How many humans died in total?" Bate had the number memorized. She would carry it the rest of her life. 3,847. Greenleaf stopped planting. "So many for us. For friends. The galaxy thinks you are heroes. They call you the guardians of the weak, the defenders of the innocent." "We are not heroes," Bates said. "We just did what anyone should do. We saw people being hurt and we stopped it." But others did not stop it. The Council did not. The other species did not, only Earth. Bate had no answer to that. He was right. The galaxy had watched the Rithani suffer and done nothing until humans forced them to care. "What happens now?" Greenleaf asked. "We help you rebuild. We make sure nothing like this happens again." "To us, you mean? What about the next species the collective would have attacked, or some other empire?" Bate understood what he was asking. 17 species have requested protection agreements. We are negotiating with 12 more. We cannot protect everyone, but we will do what we can. "You are changing the galaxy." "We are trying." Greenleaf looked up at the sky where human ships orbited on patrol. "Before you came, we thought we would all die, that no one cared enough to help. You proved us wrong, not just about humans, about what is possible when someone chooses to care." Bate helped him plant the last flower and stood. "The galaxy is going to change whether we want it to or not. Too many species saw what happened here. They know now that empires can fall, that the weak do not have to accept oppression, that someone will fight for them." She left Greenleaf to his memorial and returned to her ship. There was always more work to do, more species to protect, more threats to monitor. Earth had taken on a responsibility that would define them for generations. In the command center, General Torres was waiting with a report. "We have a situation developing in the outer reaches. The Kravex Dominion is threatening 3 mining colonies. They want us to intervene." "Do we have ships available?" "2 battle groups. But Bate, we cannot police the entire galaxy. We do not have the resources." "I know. Then what do we do?" Bate pulled up the star charts. The galaxy stretched out before her, vast and full of species both strong and weak, predator and prey. Earth was small. Their fleet was limited, but they had proven something important. They had proven that doing the right thing mattered more than calculations of power or political convenience. "We do what we can," she said. "We protect those we can protect. We fight when we have to fight. And we hope that our example inspires others to do the same." Torres nodded slowly. "The Council wants to meet with you. They want to formalize Earth's role as a peacekeeping force. Let me guess, they want to make it official so they can control it." "Probably." "Tell them we will meet. But make it clear that Earth does not take orders from a council that let the Rithani die. We are partners or we are nothing." As Torres left to send the message, Bate looked out the viewport at Green Meadow below. Lights were coming back on across the planet. Cities that had been dark were glowing again. The Rithani were recovering. It had cost Earth dearly. Thousands of lives, billions in resources, political complications that would last decades. But when Bate thought about Greenleaf planting flowers in that memorial garden, about Rithani children who would grow up free because humans had cared enough to fight for them, she knew it had been worth it. A message came through from Earth. The United Earth Assembly had voted on new legislation. Any species facing genocide or ethnic cleansing could petition Earth for protection. If the petition was verified, Earth would respond with military force. It was official now. Earth had become the galaxy's guardian. Bate thought about the road ahead. More fights, more sacrifices, more hard decisions, but also more species saved, more tyrants stopped, more proof that the universe did not have to be ruled by the strong crushing the weak. She pulled up her personal logs and added one final entry. We did not choose this role, it chose us. But now that we have it, we will do it right. Not for glory or power or territory, but because it is right. Because some things matter more than safety or convenience. Because friendship, real friendship, means standing together even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. The galaxy is changing, and Earth will make sure it changes for the better. She closed the log and returned to work. There was always another crisis, another species in need, another fight worth fighting. And humans would be there, always.